Hi everyone. Today we're off into the woods again, this time to visit a cave. We've been here numerous times over the years and always feel drawn back to what is always a peaceful place for a rainy day when the high fells are off limits with wind and clag. We also visited this cave when we were recording the Caves EP, which was way back in 2020. This feels like a lifetime ago now. That was actually the first Shannon release. The first songs, Halcyon and Mountains, were still in demo form and yet to be heard by anyone back then. It's lovely to look back now and see how much this project has grown since those days. And our heartfelt thanks go out to anyone who has been on this creative journey with us. Funnily enough, this cave didn't make it onto Caves EP. We were looking for striking natural reverbs, which we found in abundance in such places as Honest to Slate Mine, Rydal Caves and, the best sounding of them all, Cathedral Cave. The cave we are going to today pales in comparison, truth be told. So why do we love it so much? And why are we going there today to sing? If you know anything about us, then you know the lore of the land and the history of the places we visit mean a lot to us, and this helps imbue our music with meaning. So today's cave, these days, is called Millican Dalton's, after the self-styled Professor of Adventure. Born in 1867 in Cumberland, Dalton moved to London where he worked as an insurance clerk, but at the age of 36 he began to feel that this city life of work was not for him. In a move similar to Thoreau and his self-built cabin at Walden Pond, Dalton moved into a hut in Buckinghamshire to be closer to, in Thoreau's words, the essential nature of things, to live deliberately so as to avoid discovering at death that I had not truly lived. He lived there in the winter months and camped in the lakes in the summer, where he was an avid climber and began to work as what today would be called a mountain guide, taking people camping and climbing, as well as making his own clothes and equipment. So where does the cave come in? Dalton lived in there during the summer months, back when the road into Borrowdale was more of a track, and the setting more truly wild than it is today. He would return to Buckinghamshire and his hut in the colder months, and that is how he lived until 1947, when at the age of 79 his hut burned down and he moved into a tent in the winter. This proved to be too much at his age, and he contracted pneumonia and died in the February of that year. We are inspired by the romance of Dalton's story, a man who was not afraid to turn his back on conventional success in order to live a life that was more authentic to him. It is hard, maybe harder than ever in 2026, to unplug from the ever-increasing pace of life and its demands, which is exactly what we are trying to do when we come to places like this, and when we travel the country, sleeping in our van, playing music and generally trying to live a life that when we are old, we can feel like we have fully lived. It is nice to feel a connection to people who have come before and boldly paved the way for alternative lifestyles in a society that does not reward or condone such dissidence. In places like this, if you spend enough time, you can feel closer to the slower reality that is nature and its rhythms, and further from the pressure and constructs that make up our everyday lives. Before we get to a bit of singing, I leave you with this quote from Dalton, when asked by a newspaper about his life in the cave in 1941 when he was 73. "Well, I don't sleep much, and while I am awake, I lie and listen and think. There's a lot to think about just now, isn't there? All the sounds of the nights, the roar of the mountain stream, the barking of our dogs and foxes, the cries of birds. How can I be lonely with such company?